Hey, I'm Bill.
Hey, I'm Brad.
This is Brad, co-founders of AircraftIQ. Check out the link below to start your free trial. But today, we're going to talk about ADs. It's another aviation acronym.
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
It's airworthiness directives. So
Airworthiness
think of these
directives.
as recalls, like for your car.
They're aviation recalls. So before, they were kind of a mess to understand and keep track of. With AircraftIQ, we now enable you, the owner, to keep track of them much more easily to make sure that you're safe and compliant. All right, Brad, so give us the overview of the airworthiness directives, ADs, what they are, why they're important, some examples of a few of them, and then we'll demo how to keep track of them for your plane on AircraftIQ.
Yeah, so airworthiness directives come out periodically from the FAA. They're never scheduled. It's all things that pop up after the aircraft has already entered service. It can be any number of things across any number of appliances on the airplane. It can be related to the airframe structure, the engine, the avionics, the prop. Anything on the airplane can be subject to an airworthiness directive depending upon how it was originally certified. So for example, any of the new Garmin autopilots, actually just the GFC 500, the newest one for the light GA market, just had an airworthiness directive come out. So that airworthiness directive is specific to the equipment installed in the airplane, right? So not every airplane has a GFC 500 installed in it, but the ones that do have to make sure it's on a specific software version or later. There was some bug in the software from one of the earlier versions, so now there's an AD to prevent that. More commonly, you'll find them related to the engine or to the airframe itself. So for example, the 310 here that we have on the ramp, the 310 has an AD on the exhaust stack, right? There's an inspection that has to be done on the exhaust system for it. 172s have inspections that have to be done and ADs that have to be done regarding oil changes and regarding magnetos and things like that. So it's anything that the airplane wasn't originally required to have an inspection on, even though it is now required because of some discovery that they made over the service life of the airplane, right? It's like a lot of these airplanes that we're flying have been around for 60 years, 70 years at this point. So over the lifespan of those airplanes, they've found various things that aren't quite right? They've found manufacturing defects or design flaws or things like that that require an airworthiness directive to inspect and then correct that sort of thing. So the Bonanza, for example, behind me, I have an AD for the unlock rollers on the gear system. Every so often, there has to be an inspection of the unlock rollers to make sure that they're still in working condition and that the actual pins that the gear retract up into are still functional. This particular airplane is also subject to a spar crack inspection AD. That AD just recently got changed for me. So originally that inspection on the spar crack was every 500 hours, but now because some hairline cracks were discovered in the spars, which is totally normal for an airplane of this age, because some hairline cracks were discovered in the spars, which is normal for an airplane of this age and with as much time on it, instead of every 500 hours, now that AD has to be complied with every 200 hours. And eventually, if the crack gets big enough, we have to do a replacement of the spars. So fingers crossed that we'll never have to do that. But so far, there haven't been many 36s that have had to have that happen. But you can imagine for an airplane that's 1978, the first version of the Bonanza came out in 1947, the first version of the 36 series came out in 1967. From 1967 to now, a lot of things have been discovered about these airplanes. So there are a lot of possible ADs that apply to this plane, but not very many of them do. So for example, I only have 3 or 4 recurring ADs that have to be monitored on this plane, but the pool of possible ADs that might apply is like 70. So the mechanic has to go through the first time they're seeing your airplane and figure out what ADs have been complied with, which ones have already been terminated by equipment, which ones don't apply at all because that equipment or that serial number or part number is not installed or anything like that.
We could record in a sound booth, but this is more fun.
This is us, right? We're at an airport and we built this thing because we spend so much time at this airport and this is a large part of my life, right? I spend 25 days at the airport doing something, whether I'm here for work or flying my own airplane or something like that. So this is why I built it, because of everything you're seeing in the background.
So ADs, there could be multiple types of ADs. You talked about recurring ADs, what could be anywhere from, what's the shortest duration AD that you're aware of?
There are some that are as short as like 25 hours, depending upon what it is.
And then some that are as many as 500,000 hours.
There's an AD on the twin Cessnas that's 10,000 hours, right? It's a 10,000 hour spar inspection on that airplane.
That's a lot of AircraftIQ quick updates you need to get
a lot of quick
to hit that. But then there's also one-time ADs as well?
Yeah, there's single occurrence ADs. So the Cardinal that I have just had an AD come out for it right before I bought it, actually, for a single time spar inspection on it. That's a terminating AD. So once you've completed the eddy current inspection on the spar and applied the anti-corrosion coating, thank you, Henry, for doing that. Once you've completed that AD, it no longer needs to be done, right? It's just a one-time check of it. And when that one came out, it was within 100 hours time in service it could be done.
So there's lots of different types of ADs. There's lots of different types of levels of severity of AD. So AircraftIQ, you can categorize those. You can house them within the aircraft profile. So one, if you go to a new mechanic, all the ADs are organized in there. But most importantly, you can keep track of the times on those ADs, particularly the shorter ones. Exactly. If you've got a 20,000 hour AD, probably not as important.
Unless you've got 19,750
hours on it. So can you walk us through what it looks like to add an AD in AircraftIQ and where it lives and demo that process?
Sure, yeah. So here, let's sit down so that way we're not quite as noisy here. We'll sit down in the airplane. Okay, so I'm gonna screen record here so you can see what I'm doing. Give me just 1 second while this gets set up. Okay, so here I am on the AircraftIQ dashboard. I'm gonna go into the Cardinal because this one I know has a AD that I haven't yet configured. So you can see I have no airworthiness directives on it. Now I'm going to add this manually because we are still working on refining the AD parsing feature. I was able to get it to scrape everything that might apply, but I want to make sure that it's not adding too much work. So I'd rather people look at and verify all the things that it has already taken a first pass at than just throw everything at you and hope it's correct. So there's still a little bit more that has to be done for that. So I'm going to add a tracked item here. I'm going to select AD compliance. The AD number is 2010-10-09. It's a recurring AD. It is for the seat rails. It's tack-based or time-based in my case. The last completed would have been the last annual. I'm not going to bother with that right now just because I need to go back and look at it. And the tack time at completion would have been the last tack time, or the tack time at the 100 hour. So hang on, let me go grab that really quick. So if I go into my maintenance history, I can see here, category, 100 hour. The most recent one was this one right here. So April 7th of 2026 was when this would have been done at 37,890. I'm going to take a screenshot of that just so I can reference it really quick. Add tracked item, 80 compliance, that one, recurring seat rails, tack based. This was April 7th of 2026. Tack time at completion was 37,890. 37,890. Next due, it's a 100-hour interval, so next due is going to be 3889.0. There's the equivalent Hobbs. I want a 15-hour and a 5-hour warning for that. So here's 5-hour warning for that. There we go. Turns that. That is an airframe tag and log event. Now, if I go back to my maintenance tracking page, you'll see under the AD compliance, there it is, 2010-10-09 seat rails, last completed that time, next due at this time, and that's it. So now all I have to do when I have maintenance is due on this airplane, go to quick actions. Actually, let me do this. Let me go request a quote. So next 100 hour that I do, it's going to be 100 hour and seat rails, and we'll do cowl flap lever stiff, and I'll go next. And I'll request a quote from my wonderful mechanic who I love, but I'm actually not going to do that right now just because I don't want to bother.
It's live.
With the email. Yeah, this is a live system. And then I'm going to go next. There it is. So 100-hour seat rails, cowl flap levers stiff, request quote. Perfect. That's it. Now all he has to do is respond with a time and a cost.
And from every other event from this point forward, what you just showed was setting the AD up.
Yep.
That's how quickly you can set it up. We would update the time. The plane is actually gone. It usually sits right there.
It's actually out flying.
It's flying right now. But now that it's in AircraftIQ, every flight and every maintenance event is going to track against that AD the way that you've configured it.
That's correct, yeah. So every time you update the times, it will update the time remaining on that. And then when you get to your first warning threshold on that, it will automatically send a quote request to the maintainer that is assigned as your primary maintainer, if you have it configured that way. This is all entirely optional. You don't have to send the quote request if you don't want to. But if you have it configured that way, it will automatically send the quote request with all the items due as soon as you hit that warning threshold, and you'll automatically get it on the schedule as soon as it's due, based on how much your airplane's actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Brad.
Yep.
AircraftIQ, link below. Try it for free. And Brad, that was all in one take.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally just. Yeah.
This is stream of consciousness, Brad. This is the intelligence. That is the intelligence that AircraftIQ, that's the IQ that it's built off of, is right in there. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comment below. Visit aircraft-iq.com. Link is in the description. You can contact us there as well. But yeah, give it a try. Free trial is there waiting for you to own your airplane smarter. See ya.